The forgotten passport, 04/22/2000, 2:30 m, Harbour Dock on the night of April 22, 2000, the port of Liverpool's West Dock, known to locals simply as Harbour Dock, lay under a thin veil of mist. The temperature hovered around 6 degrees Celsius. A cold drizzle clung to the air, and the sodium vapor lamps that lined the quay cast a pale amber glow across the wet concrete. The smell of diesel fuel mingled with the salty tang of the Mersey, a routine backdrop for the night shift workers who loaded and unloaded the steady stream of cargo containers. At 2:30 a.m., a security guard named Thomas Brennan was making his usual rounds along the eastern quay. His torch swept the rows of stacked containers when something on the ground caught his eye. A small, navy blue booklet lay near the base of container number 721, its cover slightly askew. Brennan knelt, lifted it with gloved hands, and recognized it immediately. A passport. He radioed the control room, and within minutes the dock was sealed off. The passport belonged to Olna Koval, a 29-year-old Ukrainian national who had arrived in the United Kingdom 3 days earlier on a seasonal work permit. Her visa, stamped in Kiev on April 18, allowed her to stay for 30 days for employment at a fish processing plant on the outskirts of the city. The passport bore a recent entry stamp from the Port of Liverpool, dated April 21, 2000, at 1:12 a.m. The last page contained a small handwritten note in Cyrillic. Remember me. No other writing appeared on the document. Olna's photograph showed a woman of medium build, 5 feet 6 inches tall, with dark brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail. A faint scar traced her left wrist, a remnant of a childhood accident. On her right forearm, a small tattoo of a lily was visible just above the sleeve line. Those physical details would later become key in identifying her for the family and for the investigators. The dock's CCTV system, though partially obscured by the rain, captured a fleeting image at 2:15 a.m. A figure matching Olna's description stood beside container 721, clutching a small, dark duffel bag. She appeared to be waiting for something or someone. At 2:22 a.m., a white van, its rear license plate partially obscured by mud, pulled up beside her. The driver's side window was down, but the camera could not capture a clear face. The van idled for roughly 3 minutes before departing east toward the dock's exit road. It was last seen turning onto the A5036, after which the footage cut out. A local taxi driver, James O'Neill, reported seeing the same white van speed past him on the dual carriageway at about 2:25 a.m. He recalled the vehicle's headlights flickering once, as though the driver had briefly turned them off. O'Neill noted the van bore no rear registration plate, only a faint outline where a plate might have been. At 3:10 a.m., police divers entered the black waters of the dock. The search continued for 6 hours, dragging nets along the harbor floor and scanning the pylons for any sign of a body. They recovered a single work boot, size 9, with a mud-caked sole, but it could not be linked conclusively to Olna. No other personal items, no signs of a struggle, and no remains were found. Forensic analysts examined the passport. The only fingerprints recovered matched Olna's, confirming she had handled the document. No latent prints from any other individual were detected, suggesting the passport had not been touched after it was dropped. A faint smear of harbor silt on the back cover indicated the booklet had lain on the ground for some time, perhaps since the moment she left it. Detectives interviewed Olna's employer, a foreman at the fish processing plant, who confirmed she had been scheduled to begin work the following morning. Her roommate, a fellow Ukrainian named Natalia, told police that Olna had seemed nervous about the job, fearing she might be under surveillance by immigration officials. She had mentioned that a man she had met on the ship had offered to help her obtain a different identity for a fee, but Natalia did not know his name. The investigation soon expanded to include the possibility of human trafficking. The van's description was circulated to regional police forces, and officers examined shipping manifests for any irregularities around the date of Olna's arrival. The MV Kestrel, the cargo vessel that had carried her from Odessa, reported a routine cargo of frozen fish. Its crew list did not include Olna's name. She had boarded as a passenger under a separate manifest, a fact that raised further questions about how she had gained access to the ship. In the weeks that followed, detectives traced the phone number written inside the passport's front cover, a local Liverpool number that had been disconnected 2 days after the passport was found. The line had been registered to a post office box in a neighboring town, but the box's tenant had never been identified. The note, per a emyata ar kratkoi emya enya, was examined by linguistic experts, who concluded it was likely written by Olna herself, possibly as a personal reminder or a message intended for someone she trusted. The case was officially classified as a missing persons investigation, but the absence of a body or concrete evidence of a crime left detectives with more questions than answers. Olna Koval's family in Ukraine maintained hope for years, posting flyers in Liverpool and contacting local media, but no credible sighting ever emerged. The passport was placed in an evidence vault, its mystery sealed behind a plastic bag. Today, the West Dock continues to handle thousands of containers each week, the sodium light still flickering over the water at night. The empty spot where Container 721 once stood is now part of a larger shipping lane, the concrete resurfaced, and the area bustling with activity. Yet the question that haunts the few investigators who still keep the file on their desks remains unanswered. What really happened to Olna Koval in the early hours of April 22, 2000? Did she slip unseen into the dark waters of the Mersey, or was she whisked away in that nameless van, her fate forever hidden among the cargo and the shadows of the dock? The forgotten passport, a simple booklet of paper and ink, stands as the sole tangible trace of a night that has never been fully illuminated.